It's one of the greatest mentally challenging decisions any business owner is ever likely to face. How to price a product or service. The world is littered with underpaid service professionals and products that do little more than cover their costs. Yet, at the other end of the spectrum, there are industry leaders who set their own terms and often simple products that become cash cows. It can seem so unfair. Well, don't despair, because today I have with me Steve Major, who's CEO and founder of Pricing Power, which is a boutique consultancy specializing in, you guessed it, pricing. He has built and sold a number of his businesses. He's spoken to audiences all over the world on the topic of pricing. And get this, as a born and bred Texas, Queensland that is, he can even shear a sheep. And he's here today to help us decide and determine how to price our products and services. Thanks for joining me, Steve.
Thanks, James. For family and friends out there, I'm probably not as fast a shearer these days. So,
if any family and friends of Steve are listening, yes, he's probably moved on from shearing to pricing. So let's talk about that. Well, earlier when we were having a quick chat, I said, where should we begin? Should we start off with this idea of looking at what our competitors are doing and setting benchmarks? And you very, very quickly, what did you say to me? I said, should we get our competitors and line up their numbers and work out how we compare? And what did you say?
No,
James, that is a dumb way to begin.
Yeah, it's one of the three key mistakes that I see out there in pricing. The first one is obviously having a look at what the competitors are doing and somehow working out that we want to be in the middle of the range, above, below, whatever, but benchmarking off our competitors. The second mistake is that we let costs drive prices. We need to understand costs from a business viability perspective as a business owner, but no customer ever buys off you because of the cost it takes you to deliver it. They don't care about your margin. They don't care at all about your cost structure. They only care about the value. So it's wrong for us to look at costs as how we set prices. And then the third mistake, and unfortunately it's surprising how common this one is out there, is that business owners just pluck a number out of thin air. And of course, that again has got no bearing back to value and connecting with what the value is. So they are the three mistakes, three very common, and all three are wrong.
So to recap, they are looking at what your competitors are doing. The second one is looking at how much it costs you to do what it is that you do. And the third one is random plucking a number from the sky. So today we're going to work through 7 steps to determine the best way to price your product or service. Now we're going to kick things off with a concept that you introduced to me earlier. Price is all about value.
At the end of the day, we only buy something because of the value that we are going to get out of it. As a potential purchaser, if you think of anything that you are buying, there is a value equation happening. The provider is giving some value. You, as a customer, are purchasing that value, and then there's a price to pay for that value. So if we're looking at how to set the price, we must understand then what is valuable to our customer. We need to really get into the heads of our prospective customers, the businesses, organizations, whoever we're dealing with, and understand what is the real value of what we're doing if we're going to be able to then look at how to work out the appropriate price. So it all starts and ends in value. And a key aspect of that, James, is that value is subjective. The value to me of something versus the value to you could be significantly different. And we need to understand that value does change. It changes over time. It changes between types or customer groups. But we really need to, pricing starts with this clear understanding of what is of value to our prospective customers.
I'll tell you what I think. Most businesses start by thinking about what features that they have or what they can offer, which are things or features. In an example like a computer, it might be the size of its memory, and someone's walked into the shop and the guy says it's got 27 gigahopper RAM of bopper bytes, and you just go, what? that there is a feature, but the benefit to you is that it holds more stuff or it goes faster. And then that becomes the value. And as business owners, we tend to think in terms of features and not necessarily in terms of benefits. And I think if we can make that leap from features to benefits, suddenly we're thinking about what we're doing in terms of value.
Absolutely. Value is not a number. And what I'm meaning there is there's both the logical, analytical side that it can, using that computer example, it can hold and do this aspect for our business or our personal life. But then there's the emotional side. I'm an Apple owner and lover, and there's no doubt that part of the value of purchasing an Apple product, we can justify it all day, every day, but part of it is that we want to be part of that crowd, is that emotional aspect. And it doesn't matter we're talking about Apple products or we're talking about buying a fruit at a supermarket. There's the whole point is value is both got this numbers and logical side, but it's also got this emotional aspect. And even in the purest B2B transactions, we need to understand both sides of that value equation.
So your action for this particular step, price is all about value. What I want you to do, listeners, is write down on a piece of paper the features of what it is that you do, your product or service, and then next to that, write benefits, and then next to that, write feelings. And once you've done that, once you've written the features, and then you've written the benefits to match those features, and then the feelings to match those benefits, scribble out the features, cross them out. No one cares that much about the features. They're not necessarily what influences the value. The value comes from the benefits and the feelings. Our next theme is this idea, and you brought it into the equation there, that all prices are contextual. All prices are contextual.